Guy, 13-point defeat to London Irish, a superb effort this evening, but we fall just short. What's your thoughts after that one?
I thought it was a close game right until the end, but we just didn't take our chances. We parked up in their 22 for long periods of time, but we just didn't come away with points, and that was the difference, really.
That ultimately must be what it came down to. We had plenty of possession, plenty of territory in the first half, probably should have been further ahead, and we couldn't quite extend that lead, and then Irish came full tilt in the second half, didn't they? Yeah,
they just used their experience in the game, and they just built a score. But we had a good start, and just before half time as well, we let them in. If we kept that lead, it might have been a little bit different, kept the mood up in the second half, but it was a tough one in the end.
The second half, we just couldn't, it seemed like we just couldn't get out of our 22. They certainly seemed to control it in the second half, didn't they?
Yeah, well, with them building the score, they put us under pressure to play. We tried to stick to our game plan and exit, but the pressure just kept coming on and they just kept getting points, which in the end made it easier for them to keep building scores.
When we look back at the positives, I guess the first half, as we've already mentioned, we created lots of chances. If we finished those, we could have been 15-20 points in front, so just looking to take those chances against Scottish next week.
That is a massive positive. If we didn't make chances or opportunities, then we'd have some worries, but we left a lot out there. There was a lot of spaces and opportunities that we just didn't see at the time, but we'll be aware about them and we'll know to take them next week.
Probably at 13 points is probably a little bit hard done by as well. A couple of chances at the end when we were looking for the losing bonus point.
Yeah, it's a tough one to take. I mean, the amount of chances that we had to just even get that losing bonus point, but we just slightly off.
You were the man of the match for the first game of the season. I know it probably doesn't mean a huge amount now, but for yourself, you must have been really pleased with your performance. You made a huge amount of yards in that midfield.
I've made a few yards, but I also made a few mistakes, which in the end count towards the defeat. If I can cut them out and some of the other boys cut them out, then we can turn that loss into a win.
How much are you enjoying playing with Pat in the midfield?
We've had a long pre-season together and we've really built a bond. So it's been really enjoyable, and as the season goes on, I think we can keep going.
And just finally, Scottish away next week, a really important one after this defeat. We'll have to get back on the horse and be a big week ahead, won't it?
Massively important. We know what we need to do, and we know that we need to go and get that win. So we'll get our head down, work hard, and come in next week fighting.
Wardy, a disappointing defeat to London Irish to start the season. What's your main assessment after that one?
I can't ask any more of the boys in terms of their work rate. They put everything out there. Not enough points in the first half. I thought we were on top for long periods in that first half. A bit similar to Harlequins the week before, and we need to come away with a few more points. Second half, we struggled to get a foothold in the game. Our set piece wasn't good enough. We lost a few aerial battles, which normally we're pretty strong at. And then we gave away a very soft try.
Looking back at the game, the first half seems to be our undoing. We've created a lot of chances and should have been further in front, but unfortunately Irish scored right on half time, which kind of took the window out of our sails a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, part of that is obviously a new side. The combinations are still coming together, and week on week we're getting better and better. And I thought some of the first half, some of the build-up play was very, very good. But when we got 5-10 metres out, we need to come away with the points. We need to look at what we're doing there and just make a few tweaks and improvements.
In terms of looking at that, is that players perhaps getting overexcited about getting over the line, or do they need to strip it back and look at other options from there?
I think we're doing a lot of the right things. I'm just not convinced we're sometimes picking the right options. It's a lot of it's about momentum and quick ball, and sometimes we're not necessarily generating that quick ball when we're in those areas, or potentially when we've got the defence all zoned in, we're not looking maybe for the option out back and to play.
In terms of the second half, London Irish, they certainly dominated, didn't they? They had as much possession as probably we did in the first half, but they managed to tally the points up and kind of run away with it in the end a little bit.
Yeah, it's one of those when they have the set piece that they had in the second half. We struggled a bit at scrum and line out, so we need to look at that. And as I say, they won a few of those aerial battles that just they're massive swings in games in terms of territory. First half we had the territory battle, we won the aerial battles, we could play in the right areas. Second half we didn't quite have that, but like I said, I'm massively proud of the boys. We spoke a lot about this game wouldn't define our season, so it's important we bounce back away next week at London Scottish.
In terms of work rate, you can't ask for more in terms of the players. They were very close to going over right at the end, which would have got us a try bonus point, so fair play for going the whole 80.
Yeah, no, as I say, I can't say much more on that apart from they've worked hard all week, they've worked hard all pre-season. We just didn't get the rewards that I think some of our players deserve tonight.
a huge game at London Scottish as well next week. What's the main work on this week, do you think?
We'll obviously come away with some points. We're in the right areas. We need to just have a little look at our set piece as to why second half it didn't go as well as we wanted, and just keep improving. We keep saying to the guys week on week, we've just got to keep improving. Lots of new players in our squad. Each week we'll get better, and as long as we're showing that improvement, I'm pretty happy.